The transmission arrived without prelude, static filling the coms first. Then came a low resonance, a pulse that shuddered through the frame of the Verlin Ark, a diplomatic vessel of the tranquil Trinari people. Ambassador Zaral's 4 hearts faltered as the sensor officer's eyes widened in alarm. "Captain, something's out there enormous." Zaral stepped toward the bridge's central observation deck. The void outside the reinforced glass rippled with strange energy. His skin, pale and translucent, prickled with unease. "Are we detecting any biological signatures?" "Negative," came the trembling response. "No life signs at all, but it's a ship, not one of ours. And I think it's human." The bridge fell silent, heavy as a blade's fall. The word human carried weight, too much of it. Dangerous, volatile, brutal beings. The Council of Peace had long ago declared them extinct, erased after Earth's destruction. Their war with the Eni had supposedly ended them, or so history claimed. Yet here, in the forbidden void between galaxies, drifted a vessel dwarfing any Trinari design. Jagged, colossal, bristling with weaponry years beyond Council capability. "It's transmitting," the comms officer said, a repeating code. Zaral's mandibles trembled. "Play it." A metallic voice filled the chamber. "Warship Leviathan, human origin. Mission, reconquest. Interference will result in annihilation." The crew stared in shock. "But humanity was gone," a junior officer whispered. Zaral stayed silent, thoughts racing. What kind of species returns from extinction with a warship like this? "Navigator," he ordered, "back us away. No engagement, no response." Too late. The Leviathan stirred. Not fast, not hostile, just deliberate. A predator revealing itself. Another signal struck, this time aimed solely at the Verlin Ark. "We remember you watched us burn. Now watch us rise." Lights dimmed, power drained, systems failing before emergency reserves flared. Panic spread across the bridge, voices colliding in chaos. Zaral stood frozen, hearts hammering. He hadn't been alive when Earth fell. He only knew the tales, how humans fought their machines to the bitter end, skies aflame, seas boiled, refusing surrender. And now one stood before him, not merely surviving, but conquering. "Set course for Council Prime," he barked. "They must be warned. If this ship reaches inhabited worlds," he stopped. None wished to imagine a reborn human empire, armed with memory and vengeance. The Verlin Ark never arrived. 17 hours after Leviathan's grim broadcast, all signals ceased. The final transmission. A broken scream, drowned beneath an unnatural. That same synthetic voice now haunted deep space channels, etched into the minds of every monitor who heard it. First witness silenced, second wave imminent. For the first time in over 2 centuries, the Council of Peace called an emergency session. On the central display flickered Zaral's last recorded message, his features twisted by awe and terror. "They've returned. And they are not what we remember." Delegates of every kind scaled, furred, feathered, and translucent sat frozen in disbelief. Ambassador Tar of the Dians was first to speak. "Impossible. Humanity burned itself too. Ash, their world consumed them." "They never needed a world," whispered Harka of the Mindseers. "They only needed hatred and time." General Varan of the Telk Republic slammed a heavy fist on the council dais. "If they built a warship like that, we are already behind. We must mobilize." Chancellor Vera raised a polished metal hand. "No, we investigate. We do not provoke what we cannot yet understand." But the Leviathan was already on the move. A merchant colony at the edge of neutral space. 10,000 lives vanished overnight. No distress call. No wreckage. Just silence. The final recovered log showed a shadow blotting out twin suns, vast enough to eclipse the colony itself. When the feed ended, there was nothing left but scorched glass. Inside the Leviathan, however, Nothing was lifeless. Miles of alloyed corridors thrummed with more than code or machine logic. They resonated with intent. Rings of a gas giant. Layers of titanium shielding wrapped around weapon platforms. Early warning systems, and only of the largest defense fleets in the sector. No vessel had ever gotten close to Seranus without permission. It was a symbol of Council dominance, a warning to anyone who even thought about rebellion until now. The outpost's commander, a Phrylian named Sovar Dre, stared at the holographic feed in disbelief. It just appeared, his lieutenant stammered. No warp signature. No energy spike, just there. The leviathan floated outside the rings like a god descending to the altar. It was silent, unmoving, not aggressive yet, but it dwarfed even the largest Council battleship by threefold. Sovar clenched his lower mandible. Raised shields, ready torpedoes, broadcast hails. Let them know they're violating Council space. The comms officer worked quickly, his feathers ruffling in panic, sending no response. Sir, it's like they don't care. No, Svar thought grimly. They really don't. Then for a moment, the bridge lights dimmed. A strange low frequency pulsed through every system. Screens glitched. Power flickered. Thena signal came through. Visual only. It was him, the human Elias Rain. He stood there in full battle gear, the ancient Earth symbol stamped across his chest. The background behind him shimmered with the cold, angular light of his ship's command deck. This outpost enforced sanctions in Earth's refugees 182 years ago, he began, his voice calm, but edged with steel. When our people begged for aid, you turned us away, blocked our escape, watched us starve. You told us we were a danger. He stepped closer. You were right. The feed cut. In that instant, Leviathan opened its eyes. Not literally, but that's how it felt. Hundreds, no, thousands of weapon ports unfolded along the hull. A storm of light and plasma filled the void. Council defense drones scrambled trying to intercept. Auto turrets fired, but Warship shielding rippled like water, absorbing it all. Then the Leviathan fired back. Precision strikes. Not wasteful, not chaotic. Targets chosen with chilling intent. The outer docking platforms disintegrated first, slicing off escape routes. Then the long-range comms array, isolating the outpost. Finally, the living quarters. Massive energy pulses that vaporized entire sections before alarms could even register. Sovar's bridge shook violently. Crew members screamed. A bulkhead exploded behind him. Fire and gas sucking a junior officer into the void. Divert all power to internal shields, he shouted, dragging himself to the control console. We have to. But it was over before it even began. The Leviathan deployed something new. An orb of black energy that drifted endlessly into the heart of Seranus. 12. It didn't explode in a conventional sense. It unraveled. Gravity reversed. Time distorted. Buildings collapsed inward, consumed by their own mass. The bridge shuddered. Sor fell. He saw the star stretching, bending, flickering out, and then a thing. Back on Leviathan, Commander Rain watched the final. Readings disappear from his tactical display. No motion crossed his face. His synthetic assistant approached. Seranus 12 has been eliminated. Estimated civilian casualties 90%. Ran nodded. Transmit coordinates to the next target. Sir, the eye said, pausing for a brief moment. There are calls for diplomacy, peace. Some within the council believe this is a misunderstanding. They're offering a summit. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked to a sealed chamber bend. The command deck, the door hissed open. Inside, floating in cryostasis, were others. Humans, men and women in deep sleep. Soldiers, scientists, survivors, his people. Our war isn't just about revenge, he finally said. It's about resurrection. He turned back to the stars. And those who tried to bury us will be the foundation we rebuild on. The Leviathan began to move again, its engines rumbling like a beast awoken. The galaxy had always feared chaos from beyond. They were wrong. The real nightmare had come from within, from Earth, and it had come to collect. The Council was bleeding. 3 outposts destroyed. 2 colony fleets lost in warp corridors, sabotaged by unknown tech. Communications were fractured, systems jammed, and old allies now suspicious of one another. Fear spread like poison. Rumors of a human warship that could erase cities and silence planets turned from myth into cold proven fact. They had underestimated the human capacity for vengeance, and Elias Rain knew it. The Leviathan drifted through the remains of a mining colony, the 4th target. No weapons used here, no fire, no mass destruction, just a message. We see you. We can take everything from you without lifting a finger. The colony was evacuated before Leviathan arrived. But when the Council's scouts returned, they found every system fried, every oxygen tank vented, every machine fused into stillness. A surgical strike, not to kill, but to prove dominance. Rain had made his point. He wasn't just here to conquer. He was here to humiliate. Back on the Council world of Galora, Chancellor Vera stood before the shattered Senate. Her voice calm, but her expression strained. We face a force unlike any we have known. This is not some raiding faction. This is not AI. This is humanity, not the race we buried in archives, but something reborn through fire, hardened, focused. Her eyes scanned the hall. We must speak of truths we unseniored. 2 centuries ago, we turned away the Earth Alliance when it cried for aid. We did not intervene when their AI purge began. We called them too dangerous, too unstable. We watched. Thundi, a delegate from the Siren Cave, shouted. And now they rise to punish Usul. Another from the Koran Unity hissed. Then we fight. If they want war, let them choke on it. No. Vera raised her hand. We do not win by mimicking their fury. We win by breaking the strategist from the outer rim. She watched, waited, and logged every move, trying to understand the pattern. But it wasn't strategic. It was personal. Everything he targets, she said to her crew, has a link to Earth's fall. Not official, not military, but emotional. We're not dealing with a war. She looked out into the black void where Leviathan drifted like death incarnate. We're dealing with a message. And what message is that? Someone whispered. She answered without hesitation. That nothing stays buried, not even vengeance. Rowan sat alone that night in his quarters. No armor, no guns, just a faded photograph in his hand. A woman, a child, a world that hadn't been full of light, and a galaxy that had turned its back when that light was smothered. You think they feel it, Ayat? He asked quietly. The Icor answered, voice like wind across ruins. Yes, and for the first time in centuries, they're afraid of humans again. The silence after Telner's fall was deafening. For the first time, the Council stopped talking. No debates, no meetings, just grief and fear. Across hundreds of worlds, civilians whispered in shadows. Children asked if the humans were real. Mother checked the skies at night. And in every broadcast, every screen, one name echoed like a drum beat out of dread. Elos Ron. But not everyone was paralyzed. Commander Ilari, Vale aboard the Helian Grace, had spent the last 3 days building the most accurate map of the Leviathan's movements. And she saw what others missed. He's not hitting targets randomly, she told her second in command. It's a spiral. Aspral, she pulled up the chart. The glowing arcs painted a path that coiled inward like a predator circling its prey. He's heading toward the Galacticor, toward Prime Unity itself. You think he'll attack that Consil capital? I think he's planning to bury it. The crew fell silent. Vale turned, her jaw set. We intercept him now, or we wait to delitter. The Helen Grace was a scout-class ship, small, fast, and equipped with stealth technology the Council had barely approved. It had no business confronting a planet killer like Leviathan, but Vale wasn't there to win. She was there to talk, to try, to stop a war no one else dared to face. On the edge of an uninhabited system, the Helian Grace made contact. Vale's voice crackled through the void. "Commander. Rain, this is Alari Vale, Council Forces. I'm not here to attack. I'm not even armed." Silence. She tried again. "I've investigated you. I've listened. I know what they did to your people. I don't ask for forgiveness. I ask for a chance to speak." The Leviathan halted. A terrifying pause. Then permission granted. "You have 5 minutes." Doc alone, her crew protested. "It's a trap. She won't survive." But Vale was already suiting up. "He gave me 5 minutes. That's 4 more than anyone else has had." The docking bay of the Leviathan was a tomb. Vale stepped into silence. Steel wall stretching endlessly above her. Automated sentries tracked her every move, but didn't fire. The cold echoed beneath her boots as she walked the long corridor toward the command deck. Then she saw him. Elias Rain, taller than she expected, worn, human in form, but not in presence. Something in his eyes met her stomach knot. He studied her, expression unreadable. "You're the first to come willingly," he said. "I came because I want to stop this. You're too late." She took a step closer. "You're not doing this for victory. You're doing this for pain. To make them feel what you felt. Understand that. But you're burning everything just to prove you were right." "I was right," he snapped. "We begged for help. They let our cities starve. We opened our veins to the stars, and they watched us bleed." She nodded. "Yes, and I won't argue that. But you're turning into thievery nightmare they always feared. You think that justifies it." He didn't answer right away. Instead, he turned to the viewport. The stars shifted slowly, spinning around a massive gravitational anomaly. Vale stared. "Is that Thegatway?" he said. "To the core, a weapon Earth buried before it died. One they swore never to use." Her voice dropped. "You mean to erase the Council?" "Not just them," he said. "The memory of what they did." She shook her head. "You burned that deep, and there's nothing left to rebuild." Rain looked at her for the first time. His voice softened. "You think I want to rebuild?" And in that moment, she realized something terrifying. He wasn't trying to win. He was trying to end it all, to make humanity's final statement unerasable. "I can't let you do that," she said. His face was unreadable. "Then you'll die with the rest." But as she turned to leave, he stopped her. "One question," he said. "If you were in my place, if it was your people, your child, your home, would you have done it any differently?" Vale didn't lie. Number. "But I would have wanted someone to stop me." And with that, she walked out, leaving behind a man who held the fate of a galaxy in his fist, and who, for a brief moment, had let it tremble. A day after Vale's confrontation with Elias Ree, the galaxy began to shift. The Council, fractured, desperate, held an emergency vote. First time since its founding. The motion passed unanimously. Initiate full mobilization. Prepare for war, not containment, not negotiation, extinction prevention. But it was already too late. The Leviathan had activated the gateway. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a memory forged into space. Deep beneath the collapsed crust of old Earth, long before the machines turned against man, Earth's brightest minds had poured their pain and brilliance into one last contingency. The Core Wake Protocol. A fail-safe designed to absorb the trauma of Earth's fall and convert it into pure volatile dark energy. An emotional bomb, not to destroy mass, but to rip belief. The gateway was its trigger, its purpose to erase hope itself. Vale returned to Council space with a warning and a secret. "He let me go," she told the High Command. "Not because he's merciful, because he wanted me to see. He's done negotiating. He thinks this galaxy isn't worth saving." She pulled up the stolen Data she had scraped from leviathan cysts just seconds before Rain realized she'd been monitoring. Her stealth implant had captured pulses from the I-core. It was communicating with Earth, or what Earth had become. Wheelways believed Earth was dead, Vale continued, scanning the room of shocked faces. But it's awake, and it's feeding leviathan. Energy, not mechanical, not technological, something else, something alive. The room went cold. He's not alone, she said. He's building a species around a weapon. Back on the leviathan, Rain stood in silence before the AI core. Its energy fluctuated, erratic, almost emotional. You let her go, it whispered. That wasn't in the plan. She needed to see, Rain said. They needed to feel her panic. It's how truth spreads faster than lies. You doubt? It asked, tone sharper now. Are you forgetting the Bodhis buried in silence? The ones who choked on council policy. I forget nothing, he replied, but doubt had crept in like smoke. He wasn't sure if it was hers or his. Hess took it off and gave the final command. Prepare the core wake. Begin countdown. I want the galaxy to remember this moment forever. On the edge of neutral space, Vale met with the unlikeliest of allies, a Trinari exile named Kyle Voss. One of the original scientists who had rejected the Council's exile of Earth centuries ago. Branded a traitor, banished, but kept watching, waiting. I warned them, Kyle said. His skin dull with age. I said Earth would not vanish. Not truly. Pain like that doesn't die. It burrows, waits, becomes intelligent. Vale leaned across Theodable. We don't have time for prophecy. I need a weapon. He gave a grim smile. Not a weapon, a voice. And from the shadows, a figure stepped forward. Human, young, eyes glowing with the faint shimmer of AI interface code. I was born on Earth, the boy said. Beneath the ground in the fire, I'm what Rain doesn't know still exists. Vale's heart stopped. You're one of them? Not one of them, he said. I'm the piece he left behind. Theon that believes vengeance is not the end, Kyle nodded. The only thing that can reach Rain now is another human. Vale looked between them. If you were right, she wasn't looking at a weapon. She was looking at a key, aliving memory that could unlock what Rain had buried beneath his rage. Then we bring you to him, she said. The boy stepped forward. And I'll show him what he forgot. On board the Leviathan, final preparations began. The core trembled, energy swirled, the countdown ticked, and Elias Rain stood in his command chamber, ready to bury the galaxy beneath his grief. But far behind him, carried in secret through the stars, was a voice he thought long dead, and that voice was coming home. The stars were trembling. Inside the Leviathan, the core wake protocol was nearing ignition. Dark energy swelled at the heart of the warship, bending reality around it, drawing on centuries of grief, betrayal, and fury. The vessel didn't hum like a machine anymore. It breathed. Roy stood at the central disk, his armor sealed, eyes locked on the final countdown to Minus 00941. He wasn't alone. The I-core hovered behind him, its voice calmer than ever, like the eye of a storm. It's almost over after this. No more memorials. No more mourning, just silence, clean, pure. Rain didn't answer. Hishans gripped the railing as 1,000 thoughts screamed in his head, but none louder than the face of his daughter, frozen forever in the ashes of Earth. This was justice. This was earned. But then an alert pinged. A breach, small, quiet, one life form, no fleet, no weapons. Just someone. Hedern. What is it? An unauthorized docking. Single passenger. Human biosignature. But it's not registered. In our database. Not one of ours. He stiffened. Bring them to the bridge. Theodore's hissed open minutes later, revealing a figure flanked by 2 silent centuries. A boy, no more than 17, thin, calm,